Hey everybody, welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a bonus episode from Long Story Short, the podcast. I'm Megan.
I'm Wendy.
And today we are discussing our thoughts on One Perfect Wedding, the third installment in the Hallmark Spring Fling series. This is the third of 5 movies. And Yes?
What? A third of 5? Oh, in the Spring Fling.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Sorry,
yes.
not this trilogy.
Correct.
Got it.
As we mentioned, this is a bonus episode. Our regular podcast episodes drop every Tuesday morning. And this week we talked about our favorite travel destination. So hop on over and give that one a listen if you haven't already. But first, Wendy, do you have a synopsis of One Perfect Wedding?
I do. One Perfect Wedding. With her book tour in 2 weeks and his expanding business plans, Kara and Ben put their long engagement behind them and booked the chalet for a small wedding with friends and family. Starring Taylor Cole, Jack Turner, and my favorite Christmas museum manager, Rukia Bernard.
Yes.
I love her. I love her. Spoiler alert. I love her.
I do too. So news and notes on this movie.
I had found quite a few, actually.
Awesome.
This is the final film in the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 movies are called One Winter Weekend and One Winter Proposal. And I believe this movie was originally going to be called One Winter Wedding.
Correct.
But they had some script problems, script delays, maybe?
I read 2 different things. One, that the script needed some work, and then that filming was delayed due to pandemic protocols.
Oh.
So they filmed later, which is why it didn't make it into either the holiday or the Winterfest.
New Year, new movies?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But then they ended up getting kind of a snowstorm in the middle of filming anyway, so it looks like a winter movie.
Yeah, it didn't look like a spring movie.
No.
I mean, it looked like real wintry for sure.
Right.
For sure. I wonder if this was supposed to be slated in the New Year, new movies for, remember a New Year's resolution had been filmed like the year before, and then they popped that one in there.
Uh-huh.
So I wonder if this was supposed to go, who knows? Who knows? This was filmed in Whistler, British Columbia. Have you ever been there?
I have not, but my husband has, and he loves it. He wants to go back.
Oh, really? Specifically at the Sasquatch Mountain Resort. And I did see that filming wrapped February 2021. Man, they just turn and burn these things.
Yeah, man, that
so
editing
crazy.
is quick.
Yeah.
Taylor Cole met her husband while filming a Hallmark movie.
Oh, that's cool.
And she got married in 2020 in a toned-down ceremony with just a few guests, and the rest of it was live streamed to the rest of their family and friends. And Jack Turner, the actor who plays Ben, he worked for Google for 10 years before turning to acting.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of this Google job. I'm gonna
Screw this steady paycheck. I'm gonna go into acting.
Oh
he
my
has
gosh.
worked pretty consistently.
That is so funny. So I do have a couple of IMDB reviews for this movie.
I was looking at one of them. It was so funny. Okay, I can't wait.
Oh, okay. Well, there was a whole bunch of them. I only pulled out 2 of them. Quote, I do love Megan's mom killing it as DJ. So Megan was her BFF, and her mom had come in to officiate the wedding. Right? She was the officiant, wasn't she? She married them, didn't she?
Yeah, I don't know that she was supposed to be, though. I think maybe that happened in the snowstorm, but she was the officiant.
You're right. And then, but she was also the trivia night, masters of ceremony, whatever. Anyway, okay, the next quote is, shame on you for screwing up a great story.
Well, the one that popped out to me, if you don't mind me adding one, it was the featured one on the IMDb homepage. It's not now. It says, why is Kara so suspicious of Ben after all this time? Why is Ben bald with no explanation? Why is the log cabin / chalet now magically a completely different luxury hotel room? No answers to any of these questions and a very weak story lead to this poor rating.
Okay. That's not true, because they did talk about why the hotel looked different. They were doing construction to it. Right? Didn't you hear that?
Movies like I do.
Yeah. I mean, they never did talk about like why Kara was like, you know, suspicious of Ben and why Ben looked different. There was actually a lot of terrible IMDb reviews about Ben's non-existent hair. They were saying things like, he looks like a chemotherapy patient. I was like, come on, give me a break. That doesn't change anything.
No, I know. I was actually bothered by the number of people who called out the hair, missing hair.
And as someone who never saw the 2 other movies that he had hair in and never seen this Jack Turner in any other movie ever, I thought the bald head, shaved head went with his character. His character's like this like snowboarding, like cool guy, company owner or whatever. I thought it fit. I thought it was fine. It was a good look. People change their hair. Like, give me a break. Oh my God. So annoyed by that.
What was your first impression of this movie?
As a standalone movie, like I said, I hadn't seen the other 2. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
I liked it too, but I wrote, would I have cared more if I had seen the first 2 movies?
Yeah, especially after reading the IMDB reviews, because there were a lot of people who were upset with this movie.
This does seem to be like a well-loved trilogy, and I did record the other 2, but I have not watched them yet. So I could see how you could be invested in this foursome, because I enjoyed them. And I wished Sean had been there in person. We could talk more about that. But I think that would have brought it all home. So let's jump to what we liked.
All right. I have a huge list.
All right.
Huge. Okay. They're kind of all over the place. It was a beautiful location. Mm-hmm. The snow looked legit.
Yes.
Like there was like obviously some backstory that there was like a polar vortex happening during the filming of this. So like when they're out in the snow, that is not computer generated snow. They are in the snow.
Like in a spring movie, finally.
Right, exactly. I loved Rukia Bernard.
Yes.
I thought she was a great best friend in this movie. She's just bright and lovely. And I want more from her, but I want her to be a lead in a movie.
Yes. She's always the sidekick.
Yeah.
But I did think this was a much better role for her than her evergreen character, Hannah. Mm-hmm. I think she shines a little bit more in this role, but I was so happy to see her. I loved her.
I loved her too. Do you want me to keep going or do you want to add yours?
No, go ahead.
I loved Megan's mom. I wish I wrote down, I wish I had more women figures like that in my life. You know, who's just going to like, let me pour you a cup of tea and let's chit chat and give me some like wisdom, you know? I loved her. I loved Kara's final wedding dress.
Yes, that was on my list too.
The lace detail, her whole wedding look, her hair was perfect. I loved it. Loved it. I liked the mysterious angle, like the lodge story, and she's trying to work it out or whatever. And I didn't even hate this suspicion around Ben, even though I thought that would be like kind of a red flag, like you're marrying this guy, but you have all these like concerns that he's secretive, that you might want to have a talk about that before you get married. Two more things. I love the idea of a trivia night before you get married. Yes. Like that's your rehearsal dinner or whatever,
fun.
Right?
Yes.
What a fun idea. I wonder if people actually do that. I think that's so great.
I've seen it done at like couples showers.
So much fun. I loved the meaning behind Ben's cufflinks that Sean sent him. Did you catch?
No.
They were like squirrels.
Yes.
Or it was, and she asks him like, what's the meaning behind and he goes, because squirrels are secretive. And apparently I had a lot of secrets, you know, as a college there. I don't know if they're college roommates or whatever they were, but yeah. And finally, they played an actual pop song again. Someone's got a budget to play a Calvin Harris song in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. As soon as they started playing that, I loved that too. Felt like a real wedding, not just like casual band music playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, tell me what you liked.
You got everything. I had everything on my list you had.
But that wedding dress was so pretty. I loved it.
Loved the wedding dress. It reminded me a little bit of Princess Kate's wedding dress. I know hers was different. It was longer sleeve, but it had that, I don't know, the lace up top. I loved that dress, and I was not at all sad that her original dress was ruined.
Me neither.
Okay, let's talk roadblocks placed in the way of our movie couple.
Well, the biggie is the sister mixes up the dress styles, colors when ordering.
Yes. Right? Yeah, yes. The only reason I hesitate is because it's not so much something that would stop them from getting married, more like wedding hijinks, but...
Yeah, okay, fine. But getting married, there was like, weather was a problem.
Right, Ben is keeping secrets.
Her third book pitch deadline was like an issue.
There's a lot happening in these 2 weeks.
There was a lot. There was a lot happening.
I wonder if the original script had more to do with Megan and Sean, and then because he couldn't be there, they had to maybe throw in some more stops on the way to Kara and Ben's wedding to have
perhaps
more conflict. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because at first they were going to get married at City Hall or whatever, and then she couldn't do it because her dad couldn't be there, and that was just like, whatever. They made mention to like another wedding that didn't happen. So were they supposed to get married in the second movie, I wonder, and something happened there?
I don't know. They talked about Rome and how that didn't work, and I don't know the answer to that.
I'm curious too.
What did you wish for?
All right. I wished for an actual appearance from Sean.
Yes, so I have that too. I wish Duchesne Williams had been present on set, and I read an interview with Rukia Bernard that said the pandemic and other commitments kept him away.
I mean, they can't work around that.
Well, here's what I think. I think because of quarantine requirements, in Canada, they were having to quarantine for 2 weeks prior to filming. So if he's just coming in to film this from something else, and then he has to go back and potentially quarantine for another 2 weeks before filming that, I wondered if that was the issue that he couldn't work around, like all the quarantine going back and forth.
Yeah, well, I hated it. I hated that part of it. I wrote down, is he going to be best man via iPad? Like, I thought somebody was going to be holding the iPad up. Yeah, because he was technically the best man.
Yeah, Ben says, you're the virtual best man I could have ever asked for.
Right, but they never show. I thought maybe the sister, Zoe, would be holding, like, the iPad during the whole, but thank God they didn't. Like, because I would.
Right, but he is on the phone at the wedding. They did that in Evergreen, too, and I suppose it's an interesting way to bring them in. It's just unfortunate that, these characters couldn't be in the movie, and because it's a series, it's not like they can just replace them.
Right. Then I would say put the movie on hold again.
Right.
And yeah, I'm annoyed by that.
Yeah, it's a disservice to the actor that they have to appear on a screen in their movie.
Right. I mean, I guess I could look like sideways, like, okay, it's COVID and they had to deal with this kind of, protocols or whatever. So I'll just go with it. But it still bothered me because, I mean, movies get put on hold all the time, right?
Right.
So production wise. Anyway, and the fact that like he proposed to Megan at the end via iPad, I just no. Yeah. I hated that. It was beautiful, but I hated the whole thing. I hated it.
They did a good job as they could have, but who wants an iPad proposal? Nobody.
Right. Nobody. That's why I'm like, why just write that part out of the story then? But maybe they felt like, well, listen, I'm here for like if they spin this off and make it a Megan Sean,
right, they get a fourth movie trilogy about their wedding.
Yes, exactly. But I was not into that whole thing at all.
I also wished for more wedding trivia.
Oh, did you?
They do 2 questions and then you fast forward to the end and they're handing out the trophies. I feel like they could have put a little more effort into this moment, and I think that would have been fun.
You know what would have been cool if it was kind of a shout out to the fans of the trilogy who would have been able to answer questions from like the 2 previous movies, like, details of that would have been really fun. It was kind of like, she's like, oh, it's halftime. Now give me some more details about this, whatever she was looking for. I can't even remember what it was. Whoever was a minority shell company owner of the
that was
Clara Lake.
There was a lot
Hotel.
going on.
Yes.
The last thing I wish for is that Megan didn't have such a burden on her shoulders, that Kara had done more of the wedding work. It was so bizarre to me that she's like, hey, will you be my wedding planner and just like give up your life for the next 2 weeks? And I understand the maid of honor helping, but Kara doesn't do anything.
She doesn't do jack shit. Yeah, nothing.
It's one thing to ask for help. It's another thing to be like, I'm just going to relax and enjoy these 2 weeks, and can you just please paint these gold? I thought that was a bit odd.
Because everybody knows, like, if you're DIYing anything, like, that takes a lot of time. And to, like, gold leaf all those pine cones or whatever, like, that would have taken forever. Like, yeah, that was crazy. I needed less of Zoe, Ben's little sister.
So funny. I read that in another review. I thought she was cute and fun. I enjoyed her.
No, I definitely saw uh-oh written all over that girl from Go. Was she like, the salads were wrong?
Right?
I don't know. I just didn't love it. I didn't love it. I like that he had her as her like best woman, and I would love to see like more weddings move that way. I mean, I know people do that, but like, why do you need like all 7 brides or 7 bridesmaids and 7, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, men and women can have friends of the opposite sex and good friends, and they can stand up for you when you get married. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. Just a side note, how I feel about weddings in 2021. I need less hijinks music.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just hate it. And this is what bugs me about it is that it's not giving me, the viewer, any credit. Like, I understand what's happening. Like, something mysterious is happening, or something's going to go wrong, or I don't need the music as a cue to tell me like that's going to happen. It just bothers me. I hate it so much.
And I feel like this movie was primed for hijinks because the couple is already in place. So we don't have the will they or won't they drama. They're not getting together. They're already in a relationship. They're already heading toward their wedding. So they had to create drama somehow. And you kind of knew it was going to be in, pine cones dropping on their heads and mismatched wedding dress colors. And I saw the hijinks coming from a mile away.
Yeah, so did you need the music?
Right.
I don't know. I would have liked maybe a little explanation or recap of the other 2 movies at the beginning.
Yes.
But I did think it stood alone just fine. So as not seeing those other 2 movies, like, I enjoyed it on its own, but like, I would have loved some sort of recap.
If you remember in the Evergreen movies, Hannah's character is narrating everything about the town and all the people that we have met in the previous movies. And part of it is because there is a bit of a rotating cast of characters in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I was hoping for the same thing happening here because these movies are several years apart. So while you do have the fans, you do get people like us that are coming in fresh. I agree that it stood alone, but I also agree I would have preferred some sort of when we last left our couple.
Exactly. Did you have anything else you wished for?
That's it. Time for Did You See That?
I have a few.
I have, maybe we should talk about buying a resort with the person we're going to marry in an
Right? Okay, I didn't have that written down, but you're right. Like, I'm guessing he's like some billionaire, or, I mean, he's got to be a billionaire if you're going to buy a resort, right?
So, right. Is it him buying the resort or is it his business buying the resort? Those are two different things, right? Like, if it's your company making a deal, I don't need to be a part of that. But if this is coming out of what are going to be our joint shared finances, this seems like a pretty big deal that we should maybe have a conversation about.
Yeah, I don't know why he was so secretive about that part. Like, that was, I mean, he was just trying to save, like, his snow camp or whatever, but yeah, that was...
Yeah, why
weird.
is it secretive? Why couldn't he have just said, hey, here's what's going on, unless he thought she wouldn't like it, in which case, that's a big red flag.
Totally.
He's doing it thinking, knowing that she's going to be unhappy about it, or assuming she'd be unhappy about it.
It was like, you know, she went to her dad and Megan both and just was like, Ben's being really secretive and strange, and he's making decisions without me. Like, or... You know, she was kind of bothered that he booked the chalet for their wedding because they didn't do it as a couple, but she wasn't doing anything for the wedding, right? Like you mentioned. So it was just weird. You would think that they would have a conversation about like, hey, what's happening? Something seems off with you, but...
Yeah, say, hey, I know you're trying not to burden me the week of our wedding, but it actually is bothering me that you're so secretive, and now I'm spinning it out into a much bigger deal in my mind than it probably is.
Right.
So it would help me if you would just talk to me. I hate when people say things to me in real life like, oh, don't worry about it, or it's not a big... Like, I am going to worry about it. Now that you're not telling me what's going on here, makes me want to know much more.
Right. Did you see that? What was Megan wearing at the wedding?
I don't know.
It's like, where'd she get that outfit?
Yeah, right? I don't know. She just had it packed into her bag.
In their color scheme that, you know, because... Yeah. I mean, she looked adorable, but I just was like, oh, I thought maybe she was going to wear the purple wedding dress, but anyway.
Look, no bridal salon can deliver a dress in a week.
Can they not? No?
No, you can walk in and buy a dress off the rack and hope they have it in your size and walk out with it. But you're not like... ordering a custom dress. Like they were like, we want this dress in this color. No, dresses take weeks and weeks and weeks. So sorry, friends, but you were going to have to like hope that somebody had something on the rack for you to go home with.
A fit.
Right?
Because alterations take a long time
too. Yes.
Yeah.
There was no fitting. There was no alterations.
They're so funny. Okay, let's talk about Kara's dad. I mean, how old could he be? He wasn't much older than she was.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. She had a very young dad. He was maybe 50.
Maybe. And how old is she? In her 30s? I mean, I guess it's possible, but...
I mean, I would put her at 35.
Yeah. So what would that make him? 15?
Yeah, it was... I did notice that he seemed like a quite young dad.
And I don't know the story. Like, neither of them had parents there other than Kara's dad. Like, his parents were dead. Her mom was dead, I think.
Which I think is why they had to give the Zoe character a spot in the movie. A, because Sean's not there to be a physical, like, presence for Ben to have someone at the wedding.
Yeah.
And also so he would have some sort of family presence. I think had Sean been there in person, then we wouldn't have had so much Zoe.
That would have been fine with me.
Right.
I am trying to look up, I want to see if, okay, so Taylor Cole is, she's here with dark hair. That looks really good on her. 1984. So she's 36. And then what's the dad play by?
She'll be 37 this month.
Blake Stadel. I can't find anything. He's not that much older. Mm-mm. He's probably in his 40s, maybe 50. Anything else? Or did you see that? Did you see that?
Her dad brings her mother's wedding dress the night before the wedding so that she can sew a piece into her wedding dress. It is the night before her wedding. Now, of course, this solves the problem of having the purple wedding dress and she has something to wear, but she's not going to be sewing something into her wedding dress. It's a very busy time the night before her wedding.
You know, is she like cutting the dress up?
Yeah, what's happening?
They show her like, I think like removing the stitches or whatever.
Right.
But then the dress looked pristine the next day, so...
Yes.
I mean, luck would have it would be like if she totally took it apart and then decided that she needed to wear the dress, and they zipped it back together real quick, you know?
Yes.
Did you see the actual snowflakes on their eyelashes?
Yes. Falling, and there was snow falling and actually landing on their shoulders. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there was a really funny scene at the beginning. They're supposed to be in Seattle where it like rains all the time, and they're walking under an umbrella. It's not raining. One, and there's people in the background without umbrellas. It was so weird. Like, why have the umbrella? Like, it's not even raining.
What did you rate this movie?
Like I said, I kind of liked it. I gave it 3 stars.
I did too. Exactly 3 stars.
Ah, look at that. I liked it. I really liked Ben.
Uh-huh.
I really liked Kara. I thought they were great actors.
I thought they had a lot of natural chemistry. I could see them as a couple.
Yeah, me too. Like, it didn't feel forced. I was wondering with him, I was trying to place it if he's like a British actor, because he kind of sounded like he had an accent a little bit.
He does have an accent.
Oh, he does. Where's he from? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh, how do you know he has an accent?
Because I heard it on his Instagram.
Oh, did you know? You did a deep dive on Jack Turner's Instagram?
Deck. The Hallmark. Here we go.
Jack Turner, I'm hanging out with the boys from Deck the Hallmark on today's episode.
Oh, definitely.
We're going to be talking all things One Perfect Wedding and One Perfect Curry. So, give it a listen wherever you listen to your podcasts, or check it out on YouTube for free. Thanks.
I mean,
that is where I heard it.
That's a game changer for me, too.
Yeah, right?
I'm going to have to listen to Deck the Hallmark, which I do often listen to. I really like those guys. I wanted to tell you, I forgot to mention, I got a message on our Girls Gone Hallmark Instagram about Ryan Pavey. We talked about Ryan Pavey last week. And we were talking about how he's a little bit stiff, or like his cadence seemed a little like... Okay, so she wrote here... she listened to our podcast, and she said, "You mentioned finding Pavey a bit stiff. I don't know if his speech pattern was part of that. He attributes that to his mother being a grammar, quote unquote, Nazi, and as a result, he over enunciates everything."
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that?
Yeah, I still enjoy him.
Me too. I like him too. And now I like Jack Turner. So
yeah. Let him be British. Why can't he be British? British people live in the States. Come on.
Seriously.
I think you're missing the mark here on this one, Hallmark. This is a whole new world.
All right. So speaking of Ireland, we talked about Ireland in our regular podcast on Tuesday. Megan, are you looking forward to As Luck Would Have It?
I'm so excited, and not just because it's set in Ireland, but because it stars Joanna Garcia Swisher, who I adore, and it also stars Alan Leach, who, if you are a fan of Downton Abbey, you will know him as Tom Branson. It's like I'm so excited for this movie. Please don't let me down.
See, I'm thinking it was not slated to be a Hallmark movie. Like, I feel like maybe this was supposed to be something else, and
Hallmark bought it.
Yeah.
Because it's like powerful actors and powerful location.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a rom-com that just couldn't make it happen because of COVID.
Maybe.
I don't know, but I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it.
I love everything about this movie that I know so far. So we will be back next Thursday to discuss that. We will be back next Tuesday with our regular Tuesday podcast. Surprise, surprise. You will have to wait and see what that one's going to be about. If you are new here, we would love it if you would follow or subscribe to our podcast. It's completely free in the podcast app of your choice. If you like us, we'd love it if you would leave a rating or a review, especially in Apple Podcasts. You can get there by visiting meganandwendy.com/Apple Podcast. And if you want show notes on everything we talked about today, you can visit our website, which is meganandwendy.com, and find notes for this podcast and every other episode. Hey guys, have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.